I'm live. I almost wasn't able to pull myself from the TV set and the live feeds, but I wouldn't miss Cliff Notes Live on a Monday night for all the tea in China or all the tea being spilt inside the house. There's got to be some kind of pun mixed in with that, but it doesn't matter. How are y'all all doing? A big old SKD 143. Love my wife, love my kids, love reality TV, love you guys who watch me on a come out here and interact with me on a Monday night and watch on replay as well. And I sure love Big Brother. Oh, so much going on. We got to talk about a lot of that. Before I go any further, because otherwise I may forget. If you are not caught up on the live feeds, if you're only watching the TV episodes, be warned, there will be spoilers all over tonight's show because we got some important stuff to talk about. So just be warned. I don't want to spoil anyone's pleasure if you watch a show a little differently. It's on this is on replay, so you can come back and watch it a little bit later. Just want you to know that. All right, with all that being said, if you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to my channel, turning on notifications, hitting the old thumbs up is always appreciated as well. Now, Cliff Notes Live every Monday night, 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Central. You can pretty much know I'll be out here within a few minutes of 8-7 time period. My morning recaps depends on what's going on in the house, whether I think there's still stuff going on and all that. So a little different on when I put those out every morning. So if you turn on notifications, you'll find out as soon as they're published. I was laughing so much. I have so much going on last night. I try to keep those things to 30 minutes or so. Eventually later in the season, it'll get down to about 20 minutes. Today's recap, 48 minutes, if I recall, over 45 minutes. I had so many notes. It's like, how am I possibly going to trim all this down? I didn't. I just tried to talk as fast as I could, talking like a New Yorker. All right. It sounds like more a Boston accent, but definitely talking loud. Well, not louder, but talking faster than I normally do. I may have to do that tonight as well, just to get through all the stuff that we want to talk about. Oh, it's so incredible. All right. Let me see who all's out here, and then we're just going to get right into it. Mainly Big Brother, but I know there's one or two other questions out there, so we'll cover those as well. Brian Hostetler, first one out here. Brian, how you doing, sir? I hope everything's going great up in your neck of the woods. Marilyn Sutherland as well. Howdy, Marilyn. Patricia Miller, Laura Lewis, Big Jake 88, Carol Mosier, Karen Loveland, Lee Strack, fix my glasses here, Paula Scar as well, Amanda, Karen Hummer, Mark Taylor. If I'm saying some of these names twice, it's just because I'm going quick. Mosu as well out there. Howdy. Megsy Megs, Audrey Cobb. Let's see. Oh, y'all have all kinds of conversations. I love seeing it. Mike Johnson, Cindy Hire. Howdy, Cindy. How are you? Dr. Bose as well. Welcome my friend into the show tonight, this evening. Liz Ragsdale. Let's see who else we've got out here. Paul Long as well. Hattie. C. Gabarbrino. See. Chaz is out here. Joanne Malozzi, Friedman, Taylor Mangus, Wyatt Garrett, Hattie Wyatt, Ken T, Nelly, Misfire, Tommy Braskett, Angie Hung. Hey, Angie. Hattie. Let's see. Tracy Muckenfuss. I love seeing these names over and over. All right. I'm Sharon saying go faster on this. Donna McCarthy, April Casey, Patty Bell, Rita Coase. All right, I think we'll shut that down. God, a lot of y'all's out here. Marsha Reese, and I think that's it. All right, if Ma shows up, y'all let me know, because last time I missed calling out Ma, and she gave me a hard time. I don't want her to feel like she's not appreciated as she gets here. She may be getting ready for school. It's about that time of year, right? I don't know how you do it, school and Big Brother. It's hard enough just watching the feeds. All right. With all that being said, let's just get right into the questions because we've got a lot of them. All right. First one. We'll take care of this before we go into the Big Brother talk. Brian Hostetler saying, did you ever apply for the Amazing Race? And Laura Lewis saying, saw the cast for Amazing Race. Wish you were included. All right. I'll give y'all a little bit of the scoop involved with the Amazing Race. I knew who the cast was going to be for quite a while. I've seen that bounced around and may have talked to a few people involved with it and all that. As far as Amazing Race, yes, I did have discussions. Some people reached out to me. We'll just leave it at that. Had some detailed discussions, a lot of paperwork, a lot of different things going on. It was going to be myself and my son. I would have been the most fun thing in the world. We went pretty far in the process. Got a chance to talk to Phil Keegan and the producers of the show, which was pretty cool. At the very end, decision was made to go a different direction. You know, that's why it's just not going to quite work out. And so it's like, oh, God, I really thought that was going to be something that was going to happen. It didn't. I would have loved to do it myself just because I love to travel. It would have been so much fun to do it with my son and get him a chance to get on TV and get to do. He would have dominated. I'd already laughed and said, God, it's going to be horrible. You're going to be running up and down these steps all around the world, and I'm going to be the one running behind going, oh, my God, give me a break here, Daniel. But nah, it didn't quite work out at the end. But that's all right. You can't try out for reality TV shows and be upset when it doesn't happen. I tell y'all that all the time as far as casting for Big Brother. I got to treat it the same way with other shows as well. So didn't quite work out. It would have been fun. I will say this as well. Kat from my season made it on the show. I was contacted about going on the show. We weren't the only two from my season who were contacted about going on the show. Not my story to tell, so I'll leave it at that. But I did notice that the Amazing Race cast was primarily from season 23 onwards, and not quite as many people from seasons before that. So I think that was a little bit of a disadvantage, but whatever. I guess I'll just have to go jump out of airplanes and go diving for yodeling in the mountains and do it all on my own just for the heck of it, instead of because there's $1 million waiting for me at the end. I'd do it anyway. So yeah, I didn't make it, but that's all right. It's gonna be fun to watch. I had fun talking to Kat about it a little bit at Ovi's wedding a couple of weeks ago, and getting as much of a scoop as I could from her and Alex about her experiences, and it should be a good season. All right, let's move on. I think we're going to be covering Big Brother primarily, but if y'all got other questions, throw them at me. We'll see. We'll cover as much as we can this evening. All right, Brian is saying, now that's how you play HOHFAFO. Absolutely. And Mosu is saying, how about Riley on the block? The queen is back. The queen has returned. For those of you who may not be aware, again, spoilers abound tonight. We know that Rachel was the HOH. We saw that on the episode broadcast on CBS last night. What some of you may not know is that the veto competition was held on Saturday. The winner of that veto competition was Lauren. Lauren won that thing. Lauren, who such a decisive player in the game of Big Brother. Just, she's got these well-defined plans that she's just ready to go conquer the world, or at least the Big Brother house. Yeah, no, not at all. She's getting pulled in every direction. All Saturday, Sunday. Finally, today they had the veto ceremony. I didn't think she was going to use it. Rachel Riley at one point had said, I'm going to talk to her. I don't want her to use it. If I have to push her, then so be it. But she will not be using the veto. Well, guess what? She used it. She faced the wrath of Rachel. It was so awkward when she went up to tell Rachel, because she's doing her makeup. She's trying not to look at Rachel. She's looking very disinterested. You can tell she felt obligated to tell Rachel, but she had zero desire to actually be in that room with Rachel. She felt a little bit like I felt when I was telling Jackson Mickey that, hey, if you send me home, I'm going to poison the jury against you. The whole time I'm sitting here thinking, all right, is he going to throw me off the balcony, or is he just going to punch me in the jaw? Which punishment am I getting ready to get from him? I feel like Lauren kind of felt the same way with Rachel. Rachel finally, you said FAFO. Absolutely. Rachel said, if you force me to renom, it may not be someone that you want me to put up. Vince later in the day said, she's just BSing. She's just trying to scare you a little bit, Lauren. Don't worry about it. No, she wasn't trying to scare at all. So let's just go ahead and talk about what she did. The nomination was used. Vince was pulled off the block. Rachel turned around and said, all right, Riley, you're going on the block, my friend. Congratulations. And people had an absolute meltdown. A lot of people are happy to see Riley on the block, but a lot of people inside the house upset. Keanu said, what are you doing, Rachel? Well, you're blowing everything up. Riley not necessarily real happy, as you could be expected. Kat not necessarily real happy, as can be expected. I get all of it. I truly do. But at the end of the day, what is Rachel going to do? They forced her hand. They forced her into a position where she had very limited choices. And she basically said, you think you can push me into making a decision and go after some people I don't want to go after? Nah, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to make my own decisions. And if it screws up your game, so be it. And it's incredible. All right, we'll talk more about it. I could talk for the next 30, 45 minutes, but I do want to get to your question. So we'll continue to talk about it. All right. Karen Loveland is saying, can production force Rachel to nominate Riley? Kat's family has contacted providers about the way Riley's treating Kat. All right, and Mosu is saying, why is Kat not telling him no? And she's always quick to defend Riley. All right, two different topics that are both worth talking about. First of all, could production force Rachel to nominate Riley as opposed to someone else? Sure. They could do whatever they want. You sign your life away. I think to some degree, you even sign something saying, we acknowledge this isn't actually a game show. It's a drama, unscripted drama reality series or something like that. So they don't even have to play by the same rules of Wheel of Fortune or Jeopardy or something like that. They can do whatever they want for the purposes of making good TV. I had signed things saying they could switch my voice. They could use whatever. I'm sure by now they can use AI to make me do all kinds of goofy things. They don't need AI for that to happen, obviously, but you know what I mean. So yes, theoretically they could do it. Realistically, no, they're not going to do that. They're not ever going to force someone to do something as part of a game play type situation. Could they have gone in and asked some leading questions saying, hey, you're kind of in a bind here, Rachel. Walk through your choices and not just the ones other people have suggested. Walk through all your choices and tell us what you would think would happen with all that. Get her to just start thinking about different things that could occur. And they're going to say it's just for context. So if you go that direction, we've already got footage and things like that. But there's also the possibility that you can ask some leading questions that's going to get someone thinking about different options or opportunities. And Big Brother production is a master at doing that to sometimes get people ramped up, to get them paranoid, to get them overconfident. They'll do things to help the storyline, but at the end of the day, it is absolutely Rachel's choice. I know during my season, once or twice, they brought me in and said, how much do you really trust Nick? I'd say, well, I did until you asked that question, and now I'm kind of wondering why you're asking that question. And so they do a lot of things like that. So yeah, they could force her to do it. Yeah, but they didn't. Just trust me. I know the way that works. They did not force her to do it. They probably ask a few questions, but I also think that Rachel is enough of a returning player and enough of a fireball. They didn't need to do that. This is all Rachel Riley's doing. I just don't think they had to do much beyond just letting her say, yeah, you're not going to force me into that position. So that's the question about Rachel. The other question about Kat and Riley and behavior and all that. If you watch my morning recaps, you know that I've already called out Riley a few times, quite a few times, I think, for being rather creepy. Sometimes I've called it out as just absolutely being creepy. Sometimes it's more joking of, and there's Riley doing his thing, whatever that's called. A little bit of both. It is. I'll put it this way: if Kat was my daughter and I was watching her on there, I'd be a little irritated. I'd be thinking that maybe Riley and I would have to have a little conversation once he was out of that house. There could be another FAFO situation occurring, this time involving Riley. I would not be happy if I was Kat's family. I get it completely. On the other hand, I also recognize that Kat is a grown woman, that production has cameras on 24 hours a day, that if the situation became a true hazard to her physical health and even her mental health to some degree, I feel confident that production would step in and stop it. During my season, productions talked to a few house guests in my house about some of the things that were occurring, being said, etc. They got, and I never heard, there was always this, you can't talk about it to the other house guests. You can't, as soon as someone would start to mention something, you are not allowed to talk about production. So I never knew for certain until I got out. Some of the things that had been said and some of the house guests from my season had been called out, but it does happen if they feel like you're riding the line, and it may have happened with Riley. We don't know what is being said in these diary room sessions, but I do trust that production is watching it. Now, here's the other thing: is he kind of, I don't even know the right word, overbearing, overpossessive? Probably all the words that you want to throw out there. I would agree with. I just can't come up with them right now. But yeah, there's a lot of things that the relationship seems a little domineering in some ways. But on the other hand, we did see her crying a little bit, crying a lot when he was put on the block. She does seem very defensive of him. Uh, how much, and this is just my suspicions, I guess, how much of her is agreeing or not agreeing, but how much of her is putting up with some of what he does in exchange for feeling like he's kind of this shield that that she's willing to put up with, because he's also someone who she knows and everyone else knows if she's put on the block may just absolutely go crazy and take out people. In other words, weighing the advantages and disadvantages of this game is incredibly tough to do. And I've got to assume that she's thought about that as well. And at the end of the day, if she's had enough, tell him, I've had enough. If he doesn't take yes or no at that point as an answer, then production can step in and say, I don't know how you do a restraining order when you're in the Big Brother house, but you know what I mean. Say, hey, you got to tone it down here. She said no, dude. So that's part of it as well. Yeah, there's lots of things that goofball does that I would be very upset with, but I trust production on it. Is that an answer that meets? It's a hard situation. It truly is, because you feel for these people. We have the virtue of being here and watching everything that's going on and seeing a lot of these people under incredible amounts of stress, and everyone responds differently to stress. And we may be seeing some of that with both his behavior and Kat's behavior as well. All right. Mark Taylor is saying, do you think it's time to get rid of Keanu next week? I hope not. I'm kind of, Keanu's growing on me like a 10-day-old sandwich. I really thought he was talking about goofballs. I thought, all right, this guy, he's going to be great TV for the first week or two, but he has no clue. He reminded me of a few old school players that came in. Was it Devin? I think they just thought he was going to run the whole house. How long ago was that? Josiah, kind of same mode. I didn't think Keanu was going to last long at all. I still don't think he's got great reads. But having said that, especially in the last day or two, I feel like he's figuring the game out. And maybe it's not so much that he's figuring the game out. He's just figuring what makes people in his house tick. And sometimes just knowing the psychology of everyone else in there allows you to figure out how you can make it work within the game rules as presented. I thought he had some really good takes over the last 24 hours or so. And at one point he was telling Rachel today, saying, the problem, Rachel, is that you and I are playing with a bunch of kids in this house who don't have a clue how to play Big Brother. And I kind of agreed with him in a lot of ways. He talked to Lauren yesterday, and he as much as people just blowing smoke and doing all their stuff back and forth about you should use it, you shouldn't use it, Keanu laid it out to Lauren pretty quick and said, look, here's the thing. You just need to decide, do you want to work with Morgan and Mickey and that side? If so, use the veto, because that's what they want you to do. If you want to work with myself and Kelly and Riley and Kat and Rachel and I can't remember, who am I missing? I don't know. He said, if you want to work with that side, then don't use it. It's very straightforward. You just have to decide which side you want to work with and use your decision based on that. Cut right to the quick. Forget all this other stuff. And maybe she paid attention to it. I guess she kind of declared who she wants to work with. I'm not. We can talk about her decision to use it, and we can talk about Rachel's decision to put up Riley as well. I did another interesting point from Keanu, and then we'll move on. Keanu, after the veto ceremony had been made, he said, look, Rachel's all upset with me. She said, oh, but Vince had the votes, and and Lauren shouldn't have used it, and Lauren should have known not to use it, and all of that. And Keanu saying, but at the same time, if Rachel was playing the game, she had veto, and Brendan was on the block, would she not use it and take the chance that he should have the votes to survive? Or would she use it and say, hey, I'm not going to take any chance whatsoever? And I thought that was pretty valid. If you look at it from that direction, it's easy for us to say, yeah, maybe it was kind of a waste to use it and it affects a lot of plans. But she wanted to protect Vince. And Vince did a good job of convincing her that he needed protecting as well. Hey, props to Vince for making this thing happen. So, it is what it is. All right, let me check out here real quick. All right. Cindy Hire. Cindy, thank you so much for the support. And to your daughter, Taryn, happy birthday to you, Taryn. I hope you have a blast on your special day. Do a little crazy dancing. Do a little celebrating. I did some while I was in the house, and have a happy birthday. So thank you, Cindy, for telling me that, so I get the chance to wish her a happy birthday. Congratulations to you. Congratulations to mom as well for having a daughter with a birthday. So yeah, I'm happy for both of y'all guys. All right, let's see. Paul Long is saying, Ma's at band camp tonight. All right, well, tell Ma that I actually noticed her absence and wanted to make sure she is doing well. Tell her as well, I'm still waiting for the Cheeseburger in Paradise solo that I'm going to get from her one of these days. It may be maybe a graduation gift from her to me or something. We'll see. But tell her I'm thinking about her. All right, Carol Mosier is saying, how Mickey gets voted out. Hope Mickey gets voted out. Can't stand the bad mouthing of everyone in the game. Mickey, I thought there was a good mention made by, I think it was Will. He's actually said it a couple times. He said, Mickey doesn't talk with you. She talks to you. She just kind of puts it out there, and she expects you just to kind of do it. Mickey is one of those, I believe, that believes that no problem can not be solved with enough conversation. No matter how Rachel is upset with Mickey as long as Mickey goes in and talks to Rachel long enough and explains everything enough, eventually Rachel's defenses are going to just be battered down. And she's going to say, oh, okay, Mickey, I guess you're right. It doesn't always work that way in the Big Brother house, because you got 17 people with 17 very different objectives, or at least you should. Now, Riley and Kat, I think they both have the same objective of making sure Kat wins, but everyone else has different objectives. Yeah, Mickey definitely. Morgan yesterday was saying, if I'm still on the block when it comes to voting, I'm going home. Vince is saying, if I'm still on the block when it comes to voting, I'm going home. Mickey's saying, I think I'll be okay even if I'm still on the block when voting happens. She's a very confident person. But there's a lot of people that absolutely have recognized that she's running the house, and there's a danger in that as well. Megsy Meg is saying, Mickey and Riley need to go. Both are toxic. Yeah, I'm not going to disagree with you on that. I think it is interesting. Just even a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, I was kind of looking at everyone, and I really hadn't really solidified my position on who I'm cheering for, who I'm cheering against. And I mentioned, I think last week, that it's at that time of the year, everyone's starting to get very passionate about some people, good or bad. And I am the same way. I find myself very much cheering for certain people and very much cheering against certain people. And I'd like to say it's absolutely objective. It's based on their gameplay and all of that. But at the same time, we all just, there's people that you maybe respect their gameplay more than others. And I definitely have some folks I'm cheering for. Keanu's one of them. I was probably not the biggest Keanu fan when he started, but God dang it, that guy just keeps surviving. He is the La Cucaracha of this season. He and Kelly, he said, I'm just going to keep coming back. I'll just keep picking you off. And he's kind of doing it so far. But now he's actually got a little strategic play. I was going to say it seems like he listens. I think that is still his weakness, is that he believes everything that he's told and doesn't listen to other people enough. Rachel kept saying, look, Riley said he was coming after you. And Keanu said, he was just saying that to you. He's not really coming after me. Well, he did say that to Rachel, whether he was serious or not. So Rachel had a reason to be a little less trusting of Riley because of that. It was so funny watching the argument between Keanu and Rachel, because she kept saying, look, he came to me and said that. And Keanu was saying, well, he may have just been saying that to you as part of a strategy. She said, well, yeah, but he should have told me that because he said it. Why should I think that he's not serious when he says it? All right, Michelle Moore is saying, did Riley tell Rachel he's going for Keanu? Yes, he did. And I can't remember when it was. I'd have to go back and look at my notes for the last few days. But yeah, he told her, he said, I'm going to be going for Riley if I get the chance. Or I'm going to be going for Keanu, if I get the chance. So yeah. He did. Now, was he serious when he said it? I don't know. Riley and Kat were interesting because they said a few things to different people. Like they said at one point that they had told, I think, Mickey they had told Vince that, yeah, he had the votes, that absolutely he had the votes to stay. But the way they told each other, it's almost like they were saying that because they knew that's what Vince wanted to hear and not necessarily that he really had their votes. So Cat and Riley sometimes tell different people different things. So, yeah, he could have told Rachel he was going for Keanu. He did tell Rachel he was going for Keanu. Would he have really gone for him? Or was that just some smoke to hide the relationship with Keanu and Riley? Sometimes people get a little too fancy for their own good sometimes. And I'm not sure what the situation was. But yeah, he did tell her that. So she was justified in being a little bit concerned about it. And now here's the deal. You've got, and this is one of the drawbacks, I think, I suppose, to having 3 people going on the block. Rachel's options were limited. You've got how many? 13 people in the house or 12 people in the house. You've got 12 people in the house. You've got 1 HOH. You've got 3 people on the block. So that drops you down to 8 people. You've got a veto winner who can't be selected. That drops you down to 7 people. You've got 3 people. Am I doing? You've got the HOH and 3 people on the block. So that's 4. The veto holder is 5. That takes you down to 7 people. She had people that she absolutely didn't want to put up, Kat and Riley. Well, I will stop for that. She had people she didn't want to put up, Ashley and Ava and Will. Suddenly that takes you down to 4 people. She didn't want to put up Keanu or Kelly. That's 2 people. What's she going to do? She was forced into a position where she just almost had to pick someone that was going to make someone mad. Is she going to burn her bridge with Keanu? No. Does she want to get the other side even more upset by picking Ava or Ashley, who she thinks that she's got some relationships with? No, not at all. The only thing that I think Rachel maybe could have done a little bit better, can't believe I'm commenting on her play and suggesting anything, but the only thing that I think Rachel could have done better is, if at all possible, go to Riley ahead of time and say, look, Riley, just so you know, it may, if the nom's if the veto's used, there is a possibility, but you need to be aware it's because I trust you so much and because I can guarantee you're not going home, that it's all about making sure that Morgan or Mickey goes home, because that's what I'm here for, and make Riley feel a little bit more part of the process as opposed to absolutely being blindsided. I think that may have worked better, but the reality is Lauren came in right before the veto ceremony. In fact, while she's telling Rachel about that she was going to go ahead and use the veto, the feed's cut, and I think they got called down to the to do the veto ceremony. So Rachel really didn't have time for it. And then afterwards, I think Riley was just so upset that Rachel hasn't had a chance to. But that's what I would be doing if I was Rachel, is going saying, and Keanu suggested this. And he kind of gave Kelly a hard time because Kelly had talked to Rachel, who had said that Riley was her target. And then she told Lauren that, and Keanu came in and said, do not be saying that. That's not what we want to tell anyone. We need to convince Riley and some of these others, if we're going to continue to work together, that Rachel does not have Riley as a target, that it was strictly that if she had put anyone else up besides Riley, there was a chance that person could go home. If she had put up Kelly, for example, Vince may have flipped and may have protected Morgan over Kelly, and then Kelly goes home. And Keanu is pushing the idea that the only person that Rachel could have put up that would absolutely guarantee Morgan or Mickey going home is Riley. And so it was almost a compliment to Riley and not trying to target him. I think it's a fantastic way to spin the story. It may be too late, especially knowing Riley and knowing how just how high strung he gets sometimes with some of this stuff going on. But yeah, I may have said that a little bit earlier if I was her. All right, let me check real quick out here. C. Gabarino. C. Gabarino, thank you for the support. I appreciate it so much. I truly thank you. C. Gabarino saying, do you think Riley is going to be more angry at Rachel or Lauren? I really love this season. I think he's going to be more upset with Rachel, because I think what Lauren can do is probably say, look, it has nothing to do with you, Riley. I was just trying to protect Vince. We're close, and I was trying to protect him. I had absolutely zero clue that she was going to put you up. I thought she'd put up Kelly, or everyone's telling me she was going to put up Keanu. I didn't think she'd put you up. If so, I may not have done it because, I don't want you up there. I think Lauren can push all of the blame off completely And I think Riley wants to believe that and will believe that when it comes down to it. So I think Lauren's going to be okay. Now, I did hear some people saying, all right, Lauren, did you know ahead of time? And, kind of heard that maybe you heard ahead of time that this was going to happen. And I think Lauren said, well, she said maybe I didn't know who she'd put up, but I think Lauren can get away from it. I think Rachel's going to face the brunt of this. Rachel's fine. Rachel will handle it just fine. All right. Tommy Braskett is saying, Lauren has more comp wins than some of the others, claiming she is doing nothing, such as Mickey. Yeah. Morgan was so funny. Morgan was saying, why is everyone mad at me? I haven't won any HOHs. I've got a perfect social game. So why am I the one that's getting hollered at and upset with? You're right. Lauren now has an HOH victory, and she has a veto win. Not just any veto win. She's got OTEV. She beat at the end. It was her and Rachel and Morgan, all three in the final round of OTEV. And she beat both of them because she had the right answer and they did not. So, yeah, Lauren, as much as I sometimes make fun of her not being very decisive in terms of decisions, she's a contributor. She's won a few competitions. There's no reason to think that she won't win a few more coming up. So, it's the problem is once she wins these competitions, she doesn't like to be a decision maker. She wants to stay under the radar and not have to face. She said several times, I don't want anyone to be upset with me. And Keanu said, well, you're playing the game of Big Brother. People will get upset with you. I remember similar in my season, Sis got so upset when she got put on the block by Jackson Mickey. She said, what? Why'd you put me on the block? I never did anything to you. And he said, well, yeah, but you never did anything for me either. I mean, at the end of the day, it's not about always that you've done something horrible to me. Sometimes we're playing different games. And Lauren's got to figure that out. She keeps talking about she wants to make big moves. Now, she did make a big move. I didn't think that she would use a veto because I really thought that at the end she didn't want to make anyone extra mad at her, that the people on the block already were mad at Rachel. So she could just say, she threatened me and what could I do? I'll give her props, even though I'm not 100% bought in just yet that it was the right move. I will give her props that she made a move. Some people talked her into it. I think Morgan and Mickey and Vince were very persuasive. They had down in the storage room last night. Morgan told her, Morgan and Vince were both in there with Lauren. And Morgan said, look, if you want to work with Vince and I going forward, you're going to use this veto. If you don't use it, that's going to tell us about, our relationship with you. Rachel came in griping saying you're stressing her out and you're heavy-handed with her and all that. No. It may have worked. It absolutely may have worked. Dr. Bose, thank you, sir. I appreciate it. I'm seeing another super sticker here. Man, y'all are just incredibly kind this evening. Thank you so much. I just have a blast doing this show, and that's why I do it. But I always appreciate the support as well. So thank you, Dr. Bose. Dr. Bose said, howdy, Cliff, my beautiful wife, Joanna, mother-in-law to our new daughter-in-law, Piper, as of yesterday. Congratulations. Wants to know if evicted guests are given the live feeds going back to day one after they are evicted. No, not at all. And now, once the season's over, you go home. Yeah, then even then, you are not given the live feeds. You're not even given copies of your season at all. You're not even given a free subscription to Paramount Plus. You would think CBS would say, hey, Cliff, we appreciate your 100 whatever hours worth of primetime viewing that you contributed to. Here's a free subscription for a year. Nah, you don't get anything. So kind of two questions there, I suppose, or two different things I'll comment on. During the season, especially if you're in jury or anything else, you don't get to see anything that's going on except what is shown to the jury when the new evicted house guest shows up, and you get to see things. You only see things that happened in front of everyone, which means the veto competitions, the nominations, the evictions, things like that. You don't get to see anything that could be somehow considered privileged information by anyone in the house. So, you don't get anything there. Once you're out of the house, you don't get anything either. I know during my season, my family was trying to record the live feeds. They had a little device set up and the Fire Stick and trying to record it. We got some of them. It's just so much data to have. I wish, oh, how much I wish that Big Brother would just say, all right, here's the server and here's all the files from your season. And, you got a year to look at the live feeds or I don't know, whatever. But no, you don't get to see the live feeds unless you're recording it yourself and things like that. I know Sharon and my mom especially, they both, while they were watching live feeds, they were taking all kinds of notes so they could tell me things that went on, realizing that I wasn't getting to watch them. I wish I'd been able to. I would have played a different game if I could watch everything that we see as viewers. But no, we don't. They don't get to see them at all. Thank you, Dr. Bose. I appreciate the question and I appreciate the support as well. All right. Liz Ragsdale is saying from Nashville. Well, howdy, Nashville. Over in your neck of the woods just a couple of weeks ago. I love Tennessee. I know Sharon and I are going to go spend more time over there. But Liz is saying, what does everyone think of the house fashionista Rachel's wardrobe this season? All I can think is, how in the world did she get all of that in her suitcase? That production must have said, all right, we're going to give you the steamer trunk that can hold 400 pounds worth of costumes and such, just because that's your role this season. Right? I don't. I could barely fit a couple of hoodies and a t-shirt. It feels like I got called out for wearing the same Aggie gear day after day. Of course, I was doing it just to promote the Aggies, but she does have some outfits, doesn't she? I would expect no less from Rachel. I am so excited to be watching Rachel play the game. I've told y'all before, I'm not a huge fan of having just one or two returning players. I think it creates a little bit of an imbalance that isn't always that much fun, but I'm incredibly excited to be watching her play this season. She didn't get to do All-Star. I'll call it. She is the queen of Big Brother for certain. But here's the other reason I really am glad that she's getting to play. Because when I watched her first two seasons, I thought she whined too much. I thought she complained too much. She irritated me in a lot of ways. That means she wasn't a good player, but she just played a very emotional game of Big Brother. I'm an engineer. I don't handle emotion. I handle logic. And I mentioned that during I think even with Jeff Schroeder, the preseason interview, I said, yeah, I don't want someone super emotional in there playing the game like Rachel. I can't stand that kind of player. I said something like that. And then I got out and I felt so bad. And so I apologized to Rachel several times. And she said, no, you're good, Cliff. You understand it now. I know you didn't understand it before. And I said, yeah, but I feel so bad. And I met her. She's so friendly, so incredible, such an incredible family person, a wife, a mom. When I saw her, she wasn't Rachel, the queen of Big Brother. She was just a very doting mom and wife. And she's just very nice. So now to see her in here, back in her element a little bit, figuring out how to play the game. I'm kind of a Rachel fan right now. Rachel and Keanu, I'm perfectly happy if we see them get way far in this game. Heck, I'd be happy to see them make it to the very end. Let Keanu's predictions come true about how iconic it will be if we end up as a final team. I'm okay with that. I truly am. All right, let's see. Mike Johnson is saying, any comment on Zach and Vinny's poor performance in the battle back? Yeah, isn't that something? They had it right and they took it off. I didn't notice they had it right. I thought a couple times it looked like they were closer than Keanu. And when Keanu at the very end won, it looked like Vince wasn't, but just a couple of pieces moving and he'd have that thing done. I was a little bit surprised. But two things with that. First of all, there was one point where while they're running around going crazy trying to figure out this puzzle, Keanu just stepped back. He just looked at the whole puzzle. It probably wasn't more than 5 seconds or so. You can't spend a lot of time, but he just took a few seconds and just, I don't know if he was looking at the puzzle pieces and running it through his head, or it's just a matter of him just taking a breath, playing the game calm and cool. I think you have to do that. But he got himself in the right position just by taking those few seconds. And then he dominated after that. He truly did. So Keanu is good about playing these games. I know when I did my battle back, rolling the ball down the little deal, I quickly realized that you couldn't be too hesitant to do it. I also knew that you had to just not sweat it too much. Just let it go. Don't be too scared of letting that ball roll down to the end. And every ball that dropped in, I knew everyone else that was competing against me was panicking more and more as they heard Julie saying, that's ball number 2 for Cliff. That's ball number 3 for Cliff. You've got to stay cool under pressure when you're playing those kind of timed competitions. So I think Keanu can do that better than the others can. The other thing, though, Keanu had said at one point that he would be, if he knew he had the votes to stay, and if it was obvious that if he didn't win, that Vince was going to win, that he would be tempted to throw the competition to Vince so that Vince could survive. That was a perfect competition, that blockbuster comp, perfect competition for that to happen. Vince had his puzzle completely. Keanu had his puzzle completely done. He could have stood right there with his hand over the button and waited. And if Vince finished his first, let Vince come over, hit the button, and he's good to go. If somehow Zach figures it out, well, Keanu just pushes the button, he's done. It would have been so easy to throw that competition, and there's no one else watching. It's just the three of those. So it wouldn't even have been that obvious if he didn't want it to be. Now, Zach and Vince may have said something, but it was a perfect situation. So did logic and reasoning get the better of Keanu at the end, and he realized that there's no guarantee ever when you're up for the vote? I hope so. I think so. I think that's a sign of a maturing player. Keanu is learning while he's playing the game. Unlike Kelly, who I just feel like Kelly is not quite. Keanu's figuring out what Kelly's not figuring out in some ways. All right, Talk That Talk is saying they need to get Kelly out. Wouldn't want her in jury. I don't disagree with you on that. Kelly does not. What kind of juror is Kelly going to be? Is she going to respect gameplay? Is she just going to respect whoever is the most crazy, insane, big moves, no matter how it affects their games? I don't know. She's not watched any seasons of Big Brother before, and I'm always going to support the super fan over the recruit who hasn't seen the seasons before and all of that. She keeps instigating things over and over. So many people have told her. Rachel said, "Stop, just stop doing it." Adrian told her it's going to catch up to you if you keep doing it, and I feel like Kelly still does it. And not just Kelly. There's so many people in this house. I don't know why everyone just has this open mouthitis that they feel like they can just spout out whatever they want to say. All of these house guests need to stop telling all these other people that if I'm HOH, I'm putting up bleep, bleep, and bleep. Don't do that, because there's no one that you should think you trust 100% in that house. And if you say that, word is going to get back at some point. I mean, look at Riley saying that he was going to target Keanu to Rachel. Look at Morgan saying that she's going to target Rachel. When you put it out in the universe, it gets back to the wrong people. It's just take it from the guy who had the loudmouth and mentioned some names. At least I wasn't telling other people, but you hold the information tight to your chest in there, because otherwise someone's going to use that against you. And we see that happening too much, and we still get it over and over. Kelly has said multiple times, "I'm going after Rachel if I get the chance." Well, someone's going to carry that back to Rachel. How's that going to? They're trying to solve things out, but when that's sitting out there, someone can use that as a weapon, as leverage at some point in the future. Just zip it. Don't say anything to you. I did hear, I think, a cat at one point was talking to Lauren, and Lauren is saying, "What do I do when Mickey comes and asks me if I'm going to use it or not?" And Kat said, "You don't have to tell her. Just say I haven't decided yet, and leave it at that." No matter how many times Mickey asks you the question, you do not owe her an answer, and don't give her one. And more people need to take that to heart, because there's just way too many people talking way too much in this house right now. Truly a bunch of kids playing the game with a few masters, perhaps. One master and one Padawan apprentice, perhaps, in Keanu. He's pretty big for a Padawan, right? But hey, it could be. Yoda was small, so all right. Brian Hostero saying, always proud. Always around day 44 when things go crazy. Yeah, you're kind of right. We had day 51 during my season was when the whole she knows him and he knows her, and everything blew up. That's when Jack went home. Tommy won HOH that week. It is right around now. I think it's because people are starting to feel secure in their position. The folks who had no clue, for the most part, are already gone. The people who are still here, for the most part, are here to play the game of Big Brother. They all think, to some degree, that they've managed to develop some kind of a relationship with certain elements. And so when you see your bubble being burst because someone else has a different idea that affects yours, it's like Venn diagrams. Yeah, there's nothing that happens that doesn't or echoes in the stream or the lake. There's nothing that you can do that doesn't somehow affect other people for good or bad. So yeah, you're right. It's kind of getting crazy right now. Part of it as well, they've been in this house for 6 weeks. That is a long time to be stuck with the same old knucklehead saying the same old stories over and over and over again. There is certainly a little bit of cabin fever kicking in, a little bit of people that are just, someone can tell a joke that on day number 1 is hilarious. By day number 42, you feel like if you have to hear that joke one more time, you're going to go self-evict. It's so bad. So people are on edge. The stress is kicking in. It's getting to feel much more serious about this time of the year. So yeah, you're absolutely right. This is now for the next couple of weeks. It's going to continue to get crazy. And that's what we're here for, right? Tell you, in the house, it was tough, but watching as a viewer, yeah, that's what we're here for. I remember those days. I remember those days so much. All right, Angie Hung. Angie, I hope you're doing. I'm so glad to see you out here. Angie's saying, who do you think is having the most misleading edit on the CBS episodes? Oh, that's a good question. There's a few people that are just getting no edit, like Will. Lauren was like that for a while until she won this veto competition. I don't know. I'll throw Riley out there, perhaps. It's getting a little bit of a favorable edit, it seems like at times. Because CBS wants to have the showmance, right? So I think sometimes they've ignored a little bit of the behavior sometimes. Who else is getting tough edits? I'd say Kelly, but I actually think Kelly sometimes is every bit as reckless and careless about her gameplay as they sometimes are showing on there. I got to think about that one for a little bit. I don't know. It's funny because I watch the episodes, but because I watch the live feeds, because I know everything that's going on, I don't really probably pay as much attention as I should to the episodes. I'm more focused on watching the competitions that we don't get to see and what was said at the veto ceremonies, the HOH ceremony. So I'm focused more on the stuff we don't get to see on the live feeds, and probably not as focused on which bits and pieces they're choosing to show and not choosing to show. So I'll think about that a little bit, Angie. But yeah, there's certainly a few people. I said Will, but Will hasn't necessarily done a whole lot yet, has he? Which may not be a bad thing. He was on the block a couple of times. He's now blended into the woodwork a little bit. That may not be bad. Let other people take the big shots. At some point, you're going to have to do something. He needs to win a competition or be a swing vote and actually have some influence and be a decision maker. And so far, he hadn't done any of that. But I'm not saying that's bad. He just needs to be ready at some point in time. I would have said the same thing about Ava, but props to Ava. She was HOH. She took out Zach, was a big target. And she did that, and now she's been able to walk it back and doesn't really seem to have blood on her hands at all. Pretty successful HOH. I'll give Ava props for maybe having the best HOH so far this season. A few others a little more messy that we're seeing. So, yeah, I don't know. I'll think about that, Angie. We'll see. All right, let's see. What time? 7:49. All right, we're doing good. Michael Ewing is saying Riley could be the last house guest evicted before jury. That's true. We still don't know whether it is 9 house guests or 7 house guests. My preference is 9. I'd rather have a jury of 9 members because then you have more people adding to the conversation. And it's a little tougher for one big personality to dominate everyone else that may be in jury. So my preference is to have 9. The reality is I don't know that we're going to have 9. The last 2 years, we've had jury members of 7. I think we could have that again this year. Think of it this way. If you have 7 instead of 9, potentially that's a couple less weeks that they have to pay for the rent of some big Hollywood's Hills house, or I think it's up in the hills of Hollywood, somewhere wherever it is, all the extra meals, everything else that goes along with an extra jury house. So there may be some financial incentives to it, but if they go to 7, then we'll get a couple more. But you're right. Riley could be last one out. Do y'all think Riley is, let's say he was to go, and I'm not convinced Riley's going to go. I think there's a strong possibility he could stay. But if Riley went, does he have any clue what is waiting for him when he gets out of the house and faces the real world? Because as a pre-jury member, he doesn't have any downtime. He's not going to sequester. He's not getting to hang out and kind of have a chance to spin down and get readjusted. It's going to be straight. Here you go, guy. Here's your plane ticket home. And hey, don't let the door kick you in the butt as you head out the front of this door here. I'm curious to see how Riley handles the attention that he's going to get. He may not have a clue. We may find out. We may not. We'll see. And how's Kat going to handle if she? I mean, we've talked about how behavior and all of that, but what does Kat do if Riley's not there? If Riley wasn't there this week, could Kat have been the nominee, and would people have cared nearly as much? She could have easily been on the block this week and been an easy person to send home. Guarantee Morgan and Mickey and all that side would have been pushing to get Kat out without hesitation. And I'm not sure the other side would have stood up for her as well. So I would like to see how Kat plays the game when she doesn't have her knight or anchor. I'm not sure if he's a knight in shining anchor armor, or he's an anchor that's pulling her down. But if he's not there, I would be curious to see how Kat does in this game. All right, 7:52. All right, Ken T is saying, if Riley gets evicted, Lauren could blame herself for using the veto. Absolutely. And it's not as though Rachel didn't warn her, right? She said, you may not like who I put up. And Lauren's like, let me just continue with my makeup. I'm not listening to you, Rachel. Well, you may want to listen next time when Rachel says you may not like the result. She may not just be she may not just be BSing you. She may actually have a little bit of a let's just burn the house down mentality. There's different ways you can intimidate other people. Riley does it through loud words and getting in your face and all that. Rachel just gives you that look, just gives you that little smile, and you know that things aren't going to go well for the rest of the week for you when she gives you that look. And we all know the look, right? We all have parents who gave us those looks at one point in life. Sharon's given me that look a few times. There's a lot of communication that doesn't require any verbal wording at all, and you just know. And Rachel can do some of that. So. Lauren was warned, if not explicitly, she certainly was given the warning in other ways. All right, Carol Mosher is saying, when do you think double eviction will be? I heard Ava talking, I think, to Kelly, and they were saying it couldn't be this week because that would be weird with jury and all that. But theoretically, you could have a double eviction next week. And if you do that, you go from 9 to 7 you go from 9 to 7. You then have 7 people in jury immediately. And so you could have double next week and it would make sense and all that. We've got 17 house guests instead of 16. So at some point, if they don't have a battle back, that saves a week. They're not having a battle. I don't think they're going to have a post-jury battle back either, but we'll see. It seems like I may be the last person that had an actual battle back type situation. But if that's the case, that saves you a week. But I still think you either need probably to have 2 double evictions, or you could have 1 triple eviction. Canada did that with their big brother, and it was kind of fun watching. But I guess I could see a double eviction maybe next week, and then another double eviction somewhere during the post-jury phase. But there's also a part of me that says, double evictions, I don't know. I was going to say double evictions tend to be a little bit later in the season. During our season, the double took place when there were 7 of us in the house. Jessica went home, and then we turned around and booted Christy in the second half of the double eviction after after Nicole won HOH and I won the veto. Thank you very much. But ours was certainly later in the season. I'm not a huge critic of having a little bit earlier when you have more choices. By the time we had our double, one, we knew it was going to take place, because if you're going to do it, it can't really go much longer than it did with us. And 2, you really don't have a big range of targets at that point in time. If you do it when there's more people in the house, it's a lot more, a little more spontaneity, I suppose, or a little bit more, very spontaneity. But a little more chances you're going to catch someone just absolutely blindsided and caught off guard. Remember Christy, she hadn't packed or anything when she got evicted in the double. So we had to go pack up all her gear and all that. Picture if you do it while there's still 10 people in the house or something. There's a lot of people that could absolutely be blindsided and shocked. So I'm okay if they have the double next week. I don't know if they will or not, but it's certainly been brought up and it's feasible. It could happen. Of course, now with the wall comp, well, that would be this Thursday. It was supposed to be last Thursday. Well, we thought it was. I could see the wall taking place this coming up Thursday. And Morgan is praying for it. She's talking today, said, that's all I've dreamt about. Even before I went on this show, before I walked in his house, I just want to get on the wall comp. I want Morgan on that wall comp just so she can see that it's not nearly as easy. It's a lot more than just strong discipline that holds you up on that wall. There's a little bit of athleticism involved as well. Now, I do think Morgan could do well on it. We'll see how well she may or may not get the chance. We'll see. All right, Cindy is saying, waiting for Zingbot. Yeah, we're ways out for Zingbot. Usually that's 7-8 house guests. That's about when ours was. So yeah, we're probably another month or so from Zingbot, plus or minus. But Zingbot's got a lot to talk about with these house guests, right? Yeah. What's Zingbot going to say about Riley if he's still in his house? He may have a few choice words. Zingbot could have a lot of words for a whole lot of these house guests the way it's gone. What would Zingbot say about Keanu? That would be fun. All right, here's y'all's task, guys, and I'll try to do as well. Over the next month, start working on the zings that you would do for the different house guests, and maybe we'll try a few of them out every Monday night and just see what y'all think. It shouldn't be hard to come up with some pretty good zings that don't rely on body shaming or anything else that I hate with Zingbot. Just go off of gameplay and the goofiness that is Big Brother 27. All right, let's see, 7:57. We'll go real quick. Lisa DeBose is saying, I think Kelly thinks she'll win by creating chaos, but it's going to hurt her. Well, you're right, and that's what Adrian said. Short term, if you're this instigator that you keep talking about, you are, even though then she gets upset when people call her an instigator. Adrian said, short term, sow all this division, plant the seeds, do all this stuff, and it will probably work for you because then people are going to be pointing fingers at each other and it won't be you. And yeah, you may get away with it short term, Kelly, he said, but at some point people will compare notes. Somewhere down the road, someone's going to realize that you're the one that's doing a lot of this, and then it's going to blow back on you and it's really going to cost you. And I think Adrian is absolutely correct. We've seen a little bit of that with Ashley. Ashley told Rachel last night, she said, look, Mickey is responsible for planting a lot of the seeds that caused you and Morgan to go after each other. She's also planted seeds making Morgan and I go after each other. She threw me under the bus to Morgan. Mickey's doing a whole lot to try to create division and cracks amongst everyone else in this house. They're starting to realize that. Will's recognizing it. Ava's recognizing. A lot of people are recognizing that Mickey, yes, she controls a lot of this house, but she's also doing a lot of it by creating the chaos, as you mentioned. And so it's going to catch up to her as well. If you do it just here and there, I think you're okay. But if you just continue to do it over and over to the point that you get a reputation for doing it, then people don't trust anything you say. And then your game is over, in my opinion. All right, real quick, last one or two we may have. Bill A is saying, think the final two will be Will and Ava or Rachel and Ava. Rachel wins. I could see that. I love Ava. She would be my vote for America's favorite player right now if it came down to it. Will, I'm always going to cheer for the older guy in the house. Do what I couldn't do. But I need to see more game, especially from Will. I need to see more gameplay out of him. Don't just coast your way to the very end. Yeah, make something happen, and then if you're in the final two chairs, fantastic. So yeah, we'll see. We got a long ways to go with that. All right, guys, with that, is there anything else on here last minute? Probably. Karen is saying knee replacement Wednesday, good luck. Karen, best wishes to you, my friend. I'll be thinking about you. It's amazing what medicine and doctors can do nowadays. You'll have a bionic knee. You'll be ready for getting up on the wall or doing slip and slide and beating the best of them. Yeah, it may be all titanium and crazy. I'm thinking Lee Majors and the $6 million man. Doesn't seem like that much money anymore. Still seems pretty good to me. But no, best wishes to you. I'll be thinking about you. Good luck on the knee replacement. And with that, we'll shut down. Dr. Bose, again, congratulations on your new daughter-in-law. Congratulations to you and your wife for having a new daughter-in-law. It's great when people find their soulmates and all that. So props to the entire family as well. All right, guys, with that, we're going to shut it down. This is a favorite time of year with Big Brother. You can tell I'm enjoying it, right? Have a great one. If you get a chance, I'll be back tomorrow morning, give y'all an update on what's going on. As soon as I turn this off, feeds are coming right back on. We'll see what's happening in the house. See if anyone's burned it down yet or gotten evicted or thrown out or whatever it may be. I'm sure it's going to be fantastic. Guys, have a great week. I will see y'all tomorrow morning. If not, then I'll see y'all next Monday. Cheers, my friends. SKD143. Have a great one. Adios, my friend. I should say SKD143. Y'all have a good one, and I will talk to y'all again soon. Until then, tip of the hat to all of y'all. Bye, guys.